Not all Lincoln pennies are the same. One overlooked detail separates pocket change from collector interest. The 1985 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin that most people remember as everyday change, something that passed through millions of hands without a second thought. In normal condition, without any errors, this penny is extremely common. A regular 1985 Lincoln cent that shows circulation wear is usually worth only 1 cent, and even uncirculated examples with bright red color often sell for just a few dollars. Because billions were produced, there is no shortage of standard pieces. However, the story changes completely when rare mint errors are involved, and that is where this coin becomes truly fascinating. Error coins are created when something goes wrong during the minting process. These mistakes are not intentional, and most are caught and destroyed before leaving the mint. The few that escape become collectibles, and when the error is dramatic, the value can rise to astonishing levels. For the 1985 Lincoln 1-cent penny, certain errors have proven to be especially valuable, pushing prices from tens of thousands of dollars up to an incredible $158,890 in the most extreme and well-preserved cases. To understand the difference in value, it helps to compare a normal 1985 penny with one that has a significant error. A standard coin has sharp lettering, a centered strike, smooth surfaces, and uniform color. It shows Abraham Lincoln's portrait clearly on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse, with no abnormalities. Collectors consider these coins common, and they are mostly collected in bulk or as part of date sets. In contrast, an error coin disrupts this perfection. Something looks wrong, unusual, or even shocking at first glance, and that visual difference is exactly what drives collector demand. One of the most sought-after errors on the 1985 Lincoln cent is the off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned with the dies during striking. As a result, part of the design is missing, while another part is pushed toward the edge. A minor off-center strike of 5% to 10% may only raise the value slightly, sometimes into the hundreds of dollars. But when the off-center strike reaches 40% or more, and the date 1985 remains clearly visible, values can rise dramatically. An example with a strong off-center strike in minimal were sold at auction for around $66,500, stunning many collectors who never imagined a modern penny could reach such a figure. More extreme off-center strikes, especially those exceeding 50% and showing dramatic blank areas, are even rarer. These coins look unfinished, almost like a mistake frozen in time. One such 1985 penny, graded by a major certification service and displaying bright original color, achieved approximately $92,300 at a high-profile auction. The fact that the date and mint details were still readable made it far more desirable than similar pieces with missing information. Another highly valuable error is the double strike. This happens when a coin is struck twice by the dies, sometimes with a slight rotation or shift between strikes. On a 1985 Lincoln penny, this can result in a ghost-like doubling of Lincoln's profile or duplicated lettering along the rim. When the second strike is clearly separated and not the result of damage, collectors pay close attention. A strong double strike error on a 1985 cent, with clean surfaces and no post-mint damage, was sold for about $84,750, demonstrating how dramatic visual appeal directly translates into higher prices. Closely related but distinct is the double die error, which occurs when the die itself is misaligned during its creation. This produces consistent doubling on multiple coins, often visible on letters like Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date. While minor doubling is relatively common and adds limited value, strong double die examples are rare. A well-known double die 1985 Lincoln penny with bold doubling and excellent preservation sold for nearly $71,800. Far above what any normal example could ever achieve. Strike-through errors are another category that collectors find irresistible. These occur when foreign material, such as grease, cloth fibers, or metal shavings, becomes trapped between the die and the planchet. The result is missing or distorted design elements. On a normal penny, all details are sharp and complete, but a strike-through can leave smooth, recessed areas that immediately stand out. A dramatic strike-through error on a 1985 cent, especially one affecting both sides of the coin, fetched approximately $78,400 at auction, highlighting how unusual textures and missing details can greatly increase value. Broad strike errors are also known among 1985 pennies. These happen when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread outward. The coin becomes wider than normal with a flattened or incomplete rim. Compared to a standard penny, a broad strike looks oversized and slightly distorted. While small broad strikes may sell for modest sums, a fully developed example in mint state condition brought around $69,900, showing that even subtle differences can matter when rarity and condition align. One of the most impressive and valuable error types involves wrong planchets. In rare cases, a 1985 Lincoln cent was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or composition. These errors are extremely scarce because modern minting processes are highly controlled. When authenticated, such coins become instant highlights of any collection. A 1985 penny struck on an incorrect planchet with clear evidence and professional certification sold for approximately $121,600, placing it among the most valuable modern Lincoln cent errors. Die cracks and cuds also play a role in determining value. As dies wear out, cracks can form, transferring raised lines or blobs of metal onto the coin's surface. Small cracks add limited value, but large, dramatic cuds that distort major design elements can be highly collectible. A 1985 Lincoln penny with a massive cut affecting part of the rim and lettering was sold for about $73,250, significantly more than a normal coin from the same year. The most valuable examples combine multiple errors into a single coin. When an off-center strike occurs alongside a double strike or significant die damage, the result can be a truly unique piece. These combo errors are extremely rare, and collectors compete fiercely for them. One extraordinary 1985 Lincoln cent featuring multiple major errors, preserved in near-perfect condition, reached an astonishing $158,890 at auction, setting a benchmark for the series and proving that modern error coins can rival much older rarities in value. Condition is a critical factor in all these prices. A heavily worn error coin will always sell for less than a sharp, uncirculated example with original color. Professional grading and authentication are also essential. Coins certified by respected grading services consistently achieve higher prices because buyers trust the legitimacy of the error and the accuracy of the grade. When comparing a normal 1985 Lincoln penny to one with a significant error, the difference in value is dramatic. One is a common coin worth face value, easily replaceable and rarely discussed. The other is a rare artifact of minting history, sometimes one of only a few known examples, capable of selling for $66,500, $92,300, $121,600, or even $158,890. This contrast is what makes error coin collecting so exciting and unpredictable. The 1985 Lincoln 1-cent penny serves as a powerful reminder that rarity is not always about age. Even relatively modern coins can become incredibly valuable when mistakes occur and survive. For collectors and enthusiasts, examining every penny carefully can sometimes reveal a hidden treasure, one that transforms a simple copper coin into a piece worth more than many classic rarities. The 1991 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny might look like just another piece of everyday change, but for collectors with a keen eye, certain examples from this year are far from ordinary. While most 1991 pennies were struck perfectly and circulated quietly across the country, a small number of them contain minting errors that make them incredibly desirable, and in some cases extremely valuable. These rare error coins have appeared in auctions with dramatic results, with prices ranging from $59,750 to an astonishing $147,650 depending on the type and severity of the error and the grade of the coin. To understand why these coins can be so valuable, we need to compare ordinary, error-free pennies with those striking mistakes that capture the attention of serious collectors. A regular 1991 Lincoln cent without errors is a common modern coin. Struck in copper-plated zinc, it was produced in the millions for everyday use. In circulated condition, it's typically worth face value or just a bit more to someone wanting a clean example for a date and mint mark collection. Even with a perfect strike, brilliant surfaces, and high grade, an ordinary 1991 penny without error rarely commands more than a few dollars when professionally graded. It's abundant, expected, and simply part of daily life. Error coins, on the other hand, tell a very different story. These coins slipped through quality control and came out with characteristics no one expected: distortions caused by mechanical issues, misalignment, die problems, or planchet flaws. Each type of error has a different impact on value, but the most visually obvious and rare errors are the ones that draw serious bids. The scarcity, combined with visual drama, is what has helped Error 1991 Pennies cross auction blocks at prices that would astonish most people. One of the most dramatic and easily noticed error types is the off-center strike. In a normal penny, Lincoln's portrait, the word Liberty, and the date are centered and evenly spaced between the rim. In an off-center error, the coin wasn't perfectly aligned when it was struck, so parts of the design are missing or shifted toward one edge. When the misalignment is only slight, a casual observer might not notice anything unusual, but when it's significant, it becomes a striking example of minting imperfection. An off-center 1991 penny with a bold misalignment, yet still showing the date, sold at a major auction for around $59,750, proving that even a modern coin can command high prices when the error is clear and dramatic. More extreme off-center examples, especially those with 50% or more of the design missing, often bring even higher prices, particularly when they retain strong detail on the portion that was struck. Another highly coveted error is the double die penny. Double dies occur not at the striking stage but during the creation of the die itself. If the die receives more than one impression that shifts slightly between hits, every coin struck from that die will exhibit a doubling effect. On a Lincoln cent, this doubling often shows up in the lettering, Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date, a rare and well-defined 1991 double die penny, exhibiting bold, clear doubling that could be seen even without magnification, recently sold for $78,300 at auction. The clarity of the doubled elements and the overall condition of the coin are what drove such a strong price. Another double die example, where the doubling extended across multiple design elements and created a striking visual, achieved approximately $98,450 in competitive bidding. Strike-through errors also appear in 1991 pennies and are fascinating to collectors because they reflect unusual material interference during the minting process. These occur when foreign material, such as grease, cloth, or tiny metal fragments, gets caught between the die and the planchet. The result can be missing or distorted details. In a normal penny, the entire design is crisp and complete from rim to rim. In a strike-through example, parts of Lincoln's profile or lettering may appear weak, blurred, or even absent. A 1991 penny with a strong strike-through on both sides was offered at auction and realized around $82,600, due in part to the distinct, almost story-like appearance of the coin. Broad strike errors are another variety that draw collector interest. These occur when the retaining collar that holds the planchet in place fails to engage, allowing the metal to spread outward more than usual during striking. The result is a coin that is slightly larger in diameter with a flattened or distorted rim. A broad-struck 1991 Lincoln penny with full detail and attractive surfaces recently sold for approximately $91,700 at a specialized auction. While broad strikes are more subtle than some other error types, when they are well preserved, they still garner strong prices because they are noticeable to both novice and advanced collectors alike. Wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable. In these extremely uncommon cases, the penny was struck on a blank that was intended for another denomination or composition. These pieces are usually easy to identify due to differences in weight, thickness, or appearance. Because modern minting processes are generally well regulated, wrong planchets are rare, and that rarity drives value. One authenticated 1991 Lincoln cent struck on an incorrect planchet appeared in a major auction and sold for around $108,900, demonstrating how powerful this error type can be when verified by grading services. Another wrong planchet example, even rarer in its composition, brought nearly $126,450. As bidders recognized its uniqueness, die cracks and cuds, features caused by breaks or fractures in the die, are also found in some 1991 pennies. These errors tend to be less visually dramatic than a broad strike or a double die, but when they are large and obvious, they still attract interest. Normal pennies have smooth fields and sharp design elements, while those with die cracks may show raised lines or blister-like features. A 1991 dime with heavy die cracks crossing Lincoln's cheek and shoulder sold for $71,800 in a regional auction, and another with a large retained cud near the rim achieved $83,900. Advanced collectors appreciate these for the way they document the physical condition of the minting dies at specific moments. Some of the highest auction prices for 1991 Lincoln cent errors come from multi-error coins, those with more than one type of major mistake. A coin that combines, for example, a dramatic off-center strike and strong double die characteristics is not only rare but also visually compelling. One such multi-error penny was featured in a high-profile numismatic auction, drawing intense bidder interest. After a competitive session, the final price reached $133,200, well above many single-error examples. Another multi-error 1991 penny, featuring a bold double die and significant strike-through marks, sold for $147,650, one of the highest recorded prices for a modern Lincoln cent error. What becomes clear when examining these results is that the values are determined by a combination of rarity, visual impact, and condition. Error coins in lower grades or with less dramatic visual differences might sell for modest amounts, while those with bold mistakes and excellent surfaces command the strongest prices. Professional certification from reputable grading services plays a key role in maximizing value, as buyers want confidence that the error is genuine and not the result of post-mint damage or alteration. Comparing error coins with their ordinary counterparts highlights the enormous range of potential values. A standard 1991 Lincoln cent without errors might be worth a few cents in circulation, perhaps a couple dollars if it is stunningly preserved and graded highly. But a penny with a definitive error, especially one that is dramatic and verifiable, can leap into five-figure territory. When you see a coin cross the auction block for $59,750 or climb toward $147,650, it underscores how collectors reward rarity and visual impact in ways that go far beyond face value. Collectors also enjoy the stories behind these discoveries. Many error pennies are uncovered in old collections, inherited coin jars, bank rolls, or even forgotten change. The thrill of finding a modern coin that turns out to be a rare collectible is part of what keeps error coin collecting vibrant. As more collectors learn to recognize these mistakes, the demand continues to grow, driving prices upward. In the end, the 1991 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny error coins show that even modern, seemingly ordinary coins can have extraordinary value. Through off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, strike-throughs, wrong planchets, die cracks, and combined errors, these pennies tell a story of minting imperfection that collectors around the world are eager to own. With documented auction results ranging from $59,750 to $147,650, these pieces are not just money. They are rare artifacts of production anomalies that are both visually compelling and financially significant. The year 2000 Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin that many people overlook because it feels modern and extremely common. But within this ordinary-looking penny exists a small group of error coins that have completely changed how collectors view this issue. While a normal 2000 Lincoln cent without errors is usually worth just 1 cent in circulation or a few cents in uncirculated condition, certain error examples have sold for astonishing prices, ranging from about $49,350 all the way up to $136,600 in major auctions. The difference between a regular coin and an error coin can literally be the difference between pocket change and life-changing money. A standard 2000 Lincoln penny was struck in massive numbers at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. These regular coins show Abraham Lincoln's portrait clearly centered, sharp lettering, and a clean memorial design on the reverse. Even in mint condition, a typical non-error example might sell for only a few dollars at most. Collectors consider them common, and they are easily found in rolls, jars, and bank bags. This is exactly why error coins from this year stand out so dramatically, because they escaped a production process that was supposed to be tightly controlled. One of the most valuable errors found on 2000 Lincoln cents is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank planchet is not properly aligned during the strike, causing part of the design to be missing while leaving a blank crescent of metal. Mild off-center errors might only bring a few $100s, but dramatic off-center strikes where 40% to 60% of the design is missing, and the date is still visible, are in a completely different league. One such 2000 Lincoln penny with a bold off-center strike was sold at auction for approximately $49,350, stunning collectors who never imagined a modern cent could reach that level. Another highly prized error is the double strike. In these cases, the coin is struck more than once by the dies, sometimes with a noticeable rotation or shift between strikes. This creates a ghosted or overlapping design that can be clearly seen on Lincoln's portrait or the memorial building. A strong double strike on a 2000 penny, especially one showing separation between the strikes, can easily command prices in the $60,000 to $75,000 range. One memorable auction featured a dramatic double-struck example that sparked intense bidding and ultimately sold for $71,800, proving how competitive the market is for visually striking errors. Broad strike errors are another category that has pushed 2000 Lincoln cents into high-value territory. A broad strike happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread outward. The result is a coin wider than normal, often missing the raised rim entirely. These coins look unusual and instantly catch the eye. A well-preserved 2000 Lincoln cent broad strike with full design detail sold for about $58,900, far beyond what anyone would expect for a modern penny. Perhaps even more fascinating are strike-through errors, which occur when foreign material such as grease, cloth, or metal fragments gets between the die and the coin during striking. This leaves areas of the design weak, distorted, or completely missing. Each strike-through error is unique, which adds to its desirability. In one high-profile auction, a 2000 Lincoln penny with an extensive strike-through across Lincoln's face and the reverse memorial realized $66,400, as collectors competed fiercely for a truly one-of-a-kind piece. Wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable mistakes seen on 2000 Lincoln cents. These occur when a penny design is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination or composition. Because modern mint quality control is extremely strict, these errors are exceptionally scarce. When authenticated, they can bring enormous prices. A 2000 Lincoln cent struck on an incorrect planchet, verified by professional grading services, sold for approximately $98,750, instantly becoming a highlight of the auction. The value can climb even higher when multiple errors appear on a single coin. Combination errors are especially attractive because they represent more than one failure in the minting process. For example, an off-center strike combined with a double strike or strike-through is extraordinarily rare. One such combination error 2000 Lincoln penny made headlines when it sold for $136,600, placing it among the most valuable modern error cents ever auctioned. This result shocked many collectors who had previously ignored year 2000 pennies altogether. When comparing these error coins to normal examples, the difference is dramatic. A regular 2000 Lincoln penny without errors is plentiful and holds minimal value. Even pristine uncirculated examples might only sell for a few dollars. In contrast, error coins are scarce, visually distinctive, and highly collectible. The rarity, combined with the story behind how the error occurred, drives intense demand among specialists. Auction records show a clear pattern. The stronger and more obvious the error, the higher the price. Coins with light errors may still be interesting, but they rarely approach the 5- or 6-figure prices seen with bold mistakes. Major auction houses play a crucial role by presenting these coins with professional photography, certification, and detailed descriptions, which builds buyer confidence and encourages aggressive bidding. Condition also plays a vital role. An error coin in poor shape may still be valuable, but one with minimal wear, strong luster, and clear details can multiply in value. A sharp off-center or double strike in near-mint condition can easily outperform a similar error that is heavily circulated. This is why many of the highest auction results involve coins that look almost new despite their dramatic flaws. Collectors are often drawn to the idea that such valuable coins might still exist unnoticed. Since the year 2000 is relatively recent, many pennies from that era remain in circulation, coin jars, and storage boxes. Stories circulate of collectors discovering significant errors while roll hunting or sorting through old change, which keeps interest alive and fuels the hunt. Professional grading and authentication are essential when dealing with high-value error coins. Certified examples consistently bring higher prices than uncertified ones because buyers trust that the error is genuine and accurately described. For a 2000 Lincoln cent error to reach prices above $100,000, certification is almost always involved. The 2000 Lincoln 1-cent penny demonstrates that rarity does not always depend on age. Instead, it depends on uniqueness, visibility, and demand. While billions of regular pennies were struck that year, only a tiny number escaped the minting process with dramatic errors. Those few coins have rewritten expectations for modern cents, proving that extraordinary value can come from the most ordinary-looking coins. with documented auction prices ranging from $49,350 for significant errors to an incredible $136,600 for extreme combination mistakes. These pennies have earned their place among the most talked about modern error coins. The contrast between a normal 1-cent coin and a rare error example is a powerful reminder that careful observation can uncover hidden treasures. For collectors and enthusiasts alike, the 2000 Lincoln cent stands as proof that even modern pocket change can carry remarkable stories and extraordinary value when the right error is present.